Hey guys, what's up? My name is Alexis Oakley and welcome back to my channel. As you guys can tell by the title of this video, today I'm going to be talking goals, manifestation, and my 2022 New Year's resolutions while I make my vision board. Hot topic, but I love the new year, making New Year's resolutions, making vision boards, things like this, so I'm super excited for this video. Also, comment down below one of your goals for the new year. I would love to read those, and if I could share any advice with you guys as well, I'll definitely be responding to all of the comments. I'm printing out all of my photos for my vision board right now, and I know you guys are gonna tell me that I'm wasting so much printer ink, and yes, I probably am, but I use this printer once a year to make my vision board, so it's kind of acceptable, I guess. I'm getting kind of annoyed though, because every time I use this printer, Bae thinks that it's like a toy, and so she tries to rip the paper out of it as it's printing, and it's so annoying, and she turns into such a little bitch if I try and tell her no. I'm gonna be the worst mom ever, because they're gonna cry about something that they're not allowed to do, and I'm just gonna be like, okay, fine.
Take these little hands and put them somewhere else.
We now have all of our supplies ready, and it's vision board time. Here is all of the photos that I printed off to put on my vision board. We have the D'Amelios, Emma Chamberlain, Halsey, Dua Lipa. I've told you guys a million times that I am literally the worst multitasker ever. I feel like I'm such an artist, so whenever I'm doing like an arts and crafts project, I don't like to talk. I like to listen to music. I zone out, you know, sometimes I smoke a little. Whenever I posted that I was gonna be making a vision board again this year, I got so many questions about how to make a vision board, where to get inspiration from, and I've been making vision boards for I want to say the last 3 or 4 years. It's been a while. I personally like to put a lot of thought and detail into mine, and I have my past ones in my glam room. You guys have probably seen them in the background of my videos. That way it's like a reminder for myself all throughout the year to work really hard, focus on my goals, and try and get some of the clients that I have on here. Or if one of your goals are to start a family and you're planning for a kid or for a wedding or anything like that, you can put any of those sorts of things on your vision board. For me personally, I usually keep it pretty career focused. I usually like to have a mix of photos and words. Most of my board is photo related just because, like I said, I'm an artist, I'm a super visual person, and photos really kind of spike creativity in me. But I also love lists and quotes and things like that. I literally have notes in my phone of so many different quotes that I've seen either on Instagram or heard on podcasts. I've also done different size boards throughout the year. I feel like this year is the biggest board that I've ever done. I just have so much fun doing stuff like this, and I really wanted to go all out this year because I feel like this year is going to be my year. But overall, I feel like the last 2 years, even throughout the pandemic, this year especially, I feel like my career has really taken off. This year was a really cool year for me for so many different reasons. I got to work with so many brands that I've been obsessed with since the beginning of my career, and it's so crazy and hard for me to wrap my head around the fact that they want to work with me, and even just the fact that they know my name and know who I am. You know, I've talked about this before, but I am from a small town in Missouri. A lot of people don't necessarily leave that town, and there's obviously nothing wrong with that whatsoever, but I've just known since I was a little kid that there was just so much more out there for me, and that I was supposed to be in LA. Literally, I remember telling people when I was like 4 years old and I was gonna live in LA one day, and everyone was like, oh yeah, right, like thought that I was insane. So enough rambling, I'm gonna go ahead and get started on my board. So what I like to do whenever I first start is take all of my photos, and I'll just start by rough cutting them. So I have some smaller photos, and then I also blew up some photos as well, because I think for my background, I'm gonna have a bunch of really large photos, and then just take smaller photos like these and use an X-Acto knife, and I'll kind of place these all around the larger photos. And of course, I'm gonna watch Lauren Geraldo while I do it because I am obsessed with her. Her Vlogmas 10 out of 10. She was honestly my favorite person that I looked forward to seeing every single day. No, bro. I just finished doing the background of the board, and I'm already so obsessed with how this is turning out. At least for this part of the board, I wanted it to be super vibey and kind of like that girl aesthetic. For vintage cool girl style photos, a lot of the photos are also mid-glam moments, which I really love. It looks so cute, and honestly I could keep it like this if I wanted to, but I feel like I want to add more still because why not? I feel like being a little extra. It's getting pretty late and honestly I'm super tired. I feel like I need to let the background dry because the glue is still super wet and I don't want it to get super wet and like wrinkly on top. I feel like I'm just gonna go ahead and let this part dry overnight, and then I'll come back and do more of the cutouts and the text and things like that on top of it tomorrow once this is all completely dried. Bae's finally being good now that I'm done for the night. She has been the biggest pain in the ass the entire time I've been doing this. I literally had to lock her in the glam room because she was jumping on the board every 12 seconds trying to knock over the paper. She was getting her hands in glue. Like, it was just a whole mess. So now I'm gonna go ahead and prep the collage style photos for my board. A lot of these photos in particular are red carpet photos, and I chose these photos in particular for the more detailed part of the board because I don't necessarily want whatever event they're attending, their logo all on the background of my vision board. And so I'm just gonna go ahead and use an X-Acto knife to cut out each person in the photos so that then we can add them to our board in a little bit. I remember in school whenever it would be like X-Acto knife day during art class, I would get so excited. I don't know why I loved these so much. Of course I had to buy a pink X-Acto knife because, you know, it just makes sense. It's part of the brand. I figured while I do this, I would talk about, you know, manifestation and some of my goals. Yes! One of the biggest goals that I have for myself this year is to have my makeup be on a billboard. And I know I'm reaching a little bit on this one, but I feel like I don't even just want my makeup to be on a billboard anywhere. I feel like I might as well just think like balls to the wall. I want it to be prime location. For LA, I would want it to be right on Sunset Boulevard, and in New York, I would want it to be in the middle of Times Square. And I'm not even gonna lie, I would 1000% be making a trip to New York just to see my work in the middle of Times Square. I think that that would just be one of the craziest, most surreal moments. New York is one of those cities for me where it still feels so magical whenever I go. I will say I'm a little jaded living in LA now. Obviously my first few times coming to LA and like my first few years here as well, I was just so blown away by everything that the city had to offer, and of course I still am to a degree, but I definitely feel like it's lost the magic a little bit. I wouldn't say all the way because there's still certain moments like whenever I see the Hollywood sign or when I'm working with a new client for the very first time that I really look up to. I feel like there's still those magical moments where I get butterflies, and it almost takes me back to before I ever started doing my job. I never want to lose that feeling. I never want to be in this industry for too long to where I start to take things for granted. You know, I'm so grateful for every single person who's helped me along the way get to where I am, whether it's in a small way or a really large way. They've all impacted my life and my career in some way or another. And even you guys, I feel like my content the last few weeks has started to do a little better than it typically does. I always read through all of the comments. In the beginning, I didn't really have anyone that I could turn to and ask questions, and I would try and ask other makeup artists that I really looked up to on social media for advice sometimes, and there were very few that answered me or would respond to comments or give people advice. And I never want to gatekeep, whether that's tips for you guys on how you can succeed and become successful makeup artists, even if it's something like product recommendations. I just genuinely love connecting with you guys and hearing feedback and talking with you guys and giving advice. I really had to figure out a lot for myself, which, don't get me wrong, I think it's so crucial to figure things out for yourself. But when it comes to something like how to do your taxes, what's a write-off, or how to even start working with celebrities in the first place, whenever it comes to like my friends or family or anyone in my life, it's like whenever one person wins, we all win. And I love having that mindset and outlook on life because you know what? There's enough room in this industry, or whatever industry you're trying to break into, there's enough room for everyone. And I don't think that there's any reason to be catty and petty and try and pin people against each other. I also just genuinely love and get off on connecting people and helping people fulfill their dreams as well. Anytime I'm on social media and I see someone post on their story like, hey, looking for a videographer, looking for a personal assistant, does anyone know anyone? I literally will pause it on that slide and sit there and think like, okay, who do I think would be a good fit with this? Do I think their personalities would match? Do I think their work ethic would match? How can I make this person's life easier and help them find their dream employee? And how can I help someone that I love get their dream job? It's just like a 2-in-1, and I genuinely love helping people in that way so much. And I even appreciate it so much when other people reciprocate that same energy for me, and they'll see someone looking for a makeup artist and they'll be like, oh my god, hey, like you should use this girl Alexis. Word of mouth and referrals is genuinely one of the best ways to get to where you want to be. I heard this quote a long time ago, and I actually talked about it on TK's podcast as well, and it's like, it's not about who you know, it's about who's gonna mention your name in a room full of opportunities. And that is so true, because just like I don't want to gatekeep with you guys, I think it's so weird when people try and gatekeep other people's talents, if that makes sense. I know for for me personally, I've gotten so many of my celebrity clients just through word of mouth and a referral. And I think that some of those people I never would have started working with if it weren't for that friend or client or whoever it was that mentioned my name to them. I started working with Kris Jenner, Demi Lovato, so many people, all because one person just mentioned my name whenever they said that they were looking for a makeup artist. And sometimes that's all it takes to get yourself in a room is a really solid referral. Because I know even for myself, when I'm looking for assistance and things, if I can save my time and energy and not have to go through hundreds of applications, and one of my really good friends that I trust and know that they would never give me a poor recommendation is like, hey, I know this person, they're really great, here's their info if you would just want to take a look at them. 9 times out of 10, I'm gonna try and work smarter, not harder, and take their word for it and give them a chance. And I feel like that's a very common thing in this industry in particular as well. I totally just realized I've just been rambling for so long and I haven't even answered any of the questions. I don't even remember what the question was that I started off with, and then it somehow turned into that. I love this photo of Sydney Carlson so much. Some other goals that I have for myself this year, I would really love to have a long-term partnership with a brand that I really love. This year I really started working with brands for the first time and doing brand deals and creating content. And I realized that I have such a passion for creating content and kind of working on like the business side of things. So far, all of the deals that I've had have just been kind of one-offs, but I would really love to have a long-term partnership with a brand, even kind of help them whenever it comes down to formulating and testing products and giving ideas. I think that that would be really fun and something that I'm genuinely passionate about, and I think that it would be beneficial on both parties. One of my goals for 2021 was to hit 50,000 followers on Instagram. I believe at the end of 2020, I want to say I had like 18,000, and so it was kind of a big jump, and to be honest, I didn't know if I would achieve it or not, and now I have a little over 65,000, and I would love to grow my little Instagram fam and hit 100K on Instagram this year. One goal that I had actually for 2019 was to have an in-person masterclass, and obviously due to COVID and restrictions and things like that, that wasn't possible, but that's definitely something that I'm still super interested in and would love to do sometime in 2022. Like I said, I love teaching and helping you guys in any capacity that I can and really connecting with you guys one-on-one, and I think that that would be such an incredible opportunity for me to share some of my knowledge and craft and expertise with you guys, and I think that also could be kind of like a bonding experience for us, and it would be so fun to get to meet you guys and hug you and talk beauty and some of our favorite products. I've never done a true masterclass, but any chance I get, I try and go back to my old makeup school, makeup designery in Burbank, and sometimes I'll bring a model or sometimes I'll just go in and answer questions and kind of talk to them and see what their goals are and what they're trying to achieve and give them advice on how to get to those places as well. I think that it would be so cool to do a masterclass and kind of create a Facebook group for each time I do it, and then you guys can kind of connect with other makeup artists and share advice and product recommendations and things like that as well. I just love the community aspect of it. A few other goals that I have for myself in the new year is I would really love to have a collaboration with a brand. For example, Ash K. Home and her Buxom palette, or Makeup by Ariel is collab with Morphe. Something like that with a brand that I love would just be such a dream and so iconic. And I think that it would be so cool for YouTube content as well to really show you guys the full behind the scenes of what it takes to have a collaboration with a brand and all the behind the scenes, the nitty gritty, the business side of things. Because I feel like the only person who's really shown like the raw side of that is whenever Jeffree Star and Shane Dawson did their YouTube series together. They really showed in like full detail and exposed what it takes to create palettes and the pigmentation behind things and coming up with names and just like the entire process, which I think is so interesting, and I feel like a lot of you guys would too. And so just know if I ever start my own line or collab with a brand or anything, you guys are gonna be getting all the tea, all the details, all the juice. And then another goal that I have for myself is to have an article written about me that's in a printed magazine. Last year was a major goal of mine to just have an article written about me in general, and that came true times like a ton. It was so crazy because last year I was actually named one of the top Gen Z names defining beauty, which is so insane to even be looked at as someone that defines Gen Z beauty. Obviously, it was such an honor to be written about in that capacity anyway, but the other people that were on this list, you guys, it was like huge names, and then I was like in the middle of it. It was so fucking crazy. It was like Selena Gomez, Addison Rae, Emma Chamberlain, the D'Amelios, Millie Bobby Brown, like so many huge names, and then Alexis Oakley. And it was actually really crazy because I was at an event a couple weeks ago and this girl came up to me and she was like, "Are you Alexis Oakley?" And it's always so crazy for me whenever people recognize me out in public and come up to me, and she was like, "Oh my god, I've been following you for so long. I found you on TikTok. I was a part of this article and I was asked to help help pitch names that were kind of like underground makeup artists and beauty and things like that, and not necessarily like the huge influencers like the D'Amelios and stuff like that. And she was like, as soon as they asked me, I was like, I know your girl. And she was like, I was so fucking happy for you. I'm gonna go ahead now and start gluing some of my more detailed pieces and my little quotes that I have printed out as well. Oh fuck, I can't put that here. Did you guys just see what I was about to do? I have this photo of Hailey Bieber and I literally was about to put it right here. And you can't really tell from this camera right now, but it's literally like she's looking down at Selena. I think recently I've been getting a lot of new followers and subscribers. I've been getting a lot of questions about how I started and my story and things like that. For anyone new, I actually have a few videos from a while back whenever I first started doing YouTube, kind of explaining my in-depth story and how I started assisting. I will definitely link down below for you guys to watch. But for right now, let's just do my quick little elevator pitch Spark Notes version. I'm 24 years old. I'm from a small town right outside of Springfield, Missouri. I've always really loved makeup and beauty and fashion, and I really started getting into YouTube videos whenever I was in middle school. That's kind of when Bethany Moda, Blair Fowler, those OG beauty YouTube gurus kind of started out, and I always was so obsessed with makeup, but I never really realized that you could create an entire career out of it, just because in Missouri, no one really gets their makeup done unless they're going to prom or a wedding or something like that. And I knew that that wasn't something that I was super passionate about or interested in. I knew that if I wanted to do makeup, I wanted to do it on a bigger scale and work with celebrities and do it for award shows and things like that. But I still didn't really comprehend that there was enough work to make a living and do it consistently. And then whenever I was a junior in high school, you know, the question got asked a lot, like, what are you gonna do after school? Where are you gonna go to college? What are your plans for after? And I literally had no clue, because I was like, I hate school. I was never a good student. I failed most of my classes. I barely passed high school, I feel like. And keep in mind, I went to a private college prep school. So college was something that was really, really important after graduation. And I knew that I didn't want to go to college. I just knew that wasn't for me. The only reason why I wanted to go to college was so that I could be in a sorority and go to football games. Like, that's it. And I was kind of talking about that with my mom one day, and she was like, well, you love makeup, like, why don't you do makeup? And I kind of explained the same thing to her, and she was like, hello, like, all of these celebrities are getting their makeup done constantly. They're not doing it themselves. As soon as she said that, it was like a light bulb flipped in my head, and I was like, that's what I'm gonna do. For the rest of my junior year and senior year, all throughout high school, I just was so passionate and was really working on building my book. And I was literally doing girls for prom and brides in my parents' basement, charging like $25. It's so sketchy to think about now that I was literally doing brides in my parents' basement, but you know, we all start somewhere. And I just remember every free moment I had, I was constantly practicing new makeup looks on my friends or researching LA and other makeup artists and trying to really like pick apart their journeys and how they got there and trying to ask questions, and honestly just being a sponge and willing to take in every bit of information I could possibly find. Okay, we're just gonna have to put Hailey by Selena just because there's like no other place for this photo, and I think her makeup looks so good, so we have to keep it. I remember getting bullied so hard for it, and there was this one job that I had in particular where the girls were so mean to me and would make fun of me for posting my work, and they were like, you're never gonna make it, and thought that it was like this crazy stupid dream of mine that I had. I never said anything, confronted the bullies, anything. I just worked really hard, kept my head down, and just had to try really hard not to let them ruin it for me. And you know, every time I got off my shift or would see a mean comment about me on Twitter or anything like that, I would like cry in my bedroom about it. And then at a certain point, I just had to be like, all right girl, suck up the tears, we're not gonna cry anymore, we're not gonna let this affect you. Use it as ammunition to get to where you wanna be and prove the haters fucking wrong. But I will say that I am so beyond grateful that I had an amazing support system around me that really helped to lift me up. My family has literally been my biggest cheerleader since the beginning and helped me in any way that they could. Obviously, they're in Missouri, they're in the car business, they're not in the makeup or the entertainment industry at all. And so it was hard for them to help me navigate this sometimes, because to be honest, we were all figuring it out together. They didn't know how to give me advice to get to where I want to be or anything like that. My dad instilled in me at a really young age to work hard, and I always saw him do that throughout my entire life, and I really look up to him and admire him for that. And I 100% can say that I got my work ethic from my dad and my grandma. And to be honest, if it weren't for them, I would not have made it in LA financially. I know that that's something that not everybody has as their family to rely on financially if they're ever in a pinch or if they need extra help. Obviously, I've been entirely supporting myself financially for a really long time now, but they sacrificed a lot for a while there so that I could succeed. And I know that I'll never be able to repay them back necessarily for everything that they did for me, but it's such a dream of mine to do something really huge for my family one day. And I feel like sometime in the next few years, I'm definitely gonna make that a priority. But yeah, so I moved out here when I was 18. I went to a makeup school, and it was about a 5-month program. It was at a school called Makeup Designery. Throughout my entire period of school there, I really started networking through Instagram. I would just sit there and DM every single makeup artist I could find offering to assist them, offering to work for free, asking to pick their brain, asking to take them to coffee so that I could ask them questions. By the time that I graduated makeup school, I made a few connections for myself and I started to assist a few celebrity makeup artists. And I assisted for, I want to say, like 3 years because I wanted to learn like every possible thing that I could learn, and I wanted to assist from different types of makeup artists. You know, in this industry, there's the makeup artists who work with like the actresses like Emma Stone, Jennifer Lawrence, Emma Watson, people like that. And there's another side of the industry that works with more singers and Kardashians and kind of like high profile influencers, if that makes sense. Typically you kind of pick one or the other, but I didn't want to just stay in one box. I wanted to work with all kinds of different people. I wanted to learn everything that I possibly could in all different styles of makeup, and so I assisted so many different makeup artists on so many different ends of the scale. And then I was able to kind of take bits and pieces of things that I learned from every single makeup artist and make it my own. For the most part, I stopped assisting in 2019, and that was because I got the opportunity to go on tour with Rachel Platten and then Avril Lavigne shortly after. And I was on the road most of 2019. And then whenever I got back from touring with Avril, that's when I really started to grow my clientele and started to gain a lot of celebrity clients on my own. 2019 was a really incredible and successful year for me, and then obviously the pandemic happened. It was only a few days before the pandemic hit. I was actually supposed to go on a world tour throughout Europe and Asia with Avril, and it obviously got canceled due to the pandemic a few days before we were supposed to leave. And 2020 was a really hard year for me, just as it was for everyone, because I felt like I had been working so fucking hard for so many years, and it was like overnight I took 12 steps back. I just felt like I was never gonna get over that mountain again and get back to what I was doing, and the industry was gonna be shut down forever, and I was really, really scared and kind of started questioning everything. But thank God things are slowly starting to go back to normal, and this last year has been one of the most incredible, successful years of my life. I went above and beyond my financial goals. I bought my dream car, I moved into my dream apartment, checked off the majority of the things on my bucket list. I got so many new clients that I've been wanting to work with forever, so it was a really incredible year for me, and I feel like 2022 is just gonna be that times 10, and I'm so excited for what's to come, and I'm really excited for you guys to follow along on my journey as well. That ended up being a really long elevator pitch. I guess we just got stuck in the elevator for a few hours. Hopefully it inspires someone out there to really take the leap of faith that they need to chase their dreams. There's this quote from Kris Jenner, and it's something like, if you get a no, you're asking the wrong person. That's so true. You know, in this industry and just in life in general, you're probably gonna get more no's than yeses. You have to be okay with that. You can't let that get you down or deteriorate you from your goals. Also, I really want to know, what are some of your guys' goals for the new year as well? I would love it if you comment down below, because I really want to read through those. Another question that I get asked all the time is how to start, and there's really no answer to that. You just have to go for it. One day you just have to decide, this is what I want for myself, and I'm gonna do A, B, and C to get there, and I'm not gonna stop. You just have to figure it out and trial and error and learn from your mistakes. I remember recently I was on the phone with my mentor, someone that I assisted for a really long time, Ash K. Holm. She is literally one of the best makeup artists out there. She works with all of your favorite celebrities. She does the Kardashians makeup, Ariana Grande, Katy Perry, Megan Fox, so many huge celebrities, and she has helped me navigate this industry so much throughout the years. And something happened that was a little bit of a setback, and I was turning to her for advice, and she was like, listen, Alexis, I never once in my career learned from something that I succeeded in. I've always learned and grown from something where I made a mistake or something didn't go the way I planned, or I hit a bump in the road, and that really struck with me, because I was like, you know what, you're right. Obviously we're human, we're gonna make mistakes, not everything's gonna go our way. You just kind of have to ride the waves as it comes, and like savor every good moment and just take the bad and learn from it and grow from it and make the changes that you need to make and just move forward. You can't sit there, you can't dwell in it, you can't beat yourself up over it. I don't think I have room for all of the quotes that I got printed out. This is always the hardest part for me, like deciding where to place the quotes. I never want there to be too many words next to each other, if that makes sense. This is my 2022 vision board, and I think that this is one of the biggest boards that I've made so far, but I love her. We really popped off this year. I feel like each year my vision boards have progressively started getting better and better, and you can tell that there's more time taken into each one as well. As you guys can tell from my vision board this year, I have a lot of photos of Casey Musgraves, Kendall Jenner, Bella Hadid, Hailey Bieber, Dua Lipa, Halsey. These are all people that I am dying to glam, and hopefully one day, even if it's not this year, I will in the future. I also put a lot of quotes on my vision board this year, so one of them is less perfection, more authenticity, and I love that quote so much, because obviously we all know social media is the highlight reel, but I just feel like it's getting so filtered, and I just want to be more authentic and real and raw with you guys. And I feel like recently I've been taking more of that approach on my Instagram stories, and you guys have been responding really well to it. And so I definitely want to make it one of my goals this year to be more authentic and intentional. Obviously I have don't compare front and center, because I feel like we all could just use that reminder again and again. Be obsessively grateful. This is something that's so important and I try to practice daily. Your gut knows what's up. Trust that bitch. And then I also have a few brands on here that I'm really dying to work with this year as well. I have Giorgio Armani, Charlotte Tilbury, and Pat McGrath. And yeah, that's my vision board. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Your love and support means the world to me. If you guys are not subscribed to my channel yet, please go ahead and click that subscribe button. Also, if you guys make a vision board at home, please tag me in your stories. I would love to see what yours looks like. I love you guys so much and Happy New Year.